Hey, everybody. We're here with the recap of USA 2, Japan 1 in Atlanta. Huge crowd at the Benz. Greg, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Apparently, I'm not the only one who also loves to watch Japan. I feel like there's 50,000 people who also have Japan as their second favorite team.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I mean, what a fun game to watch, too. But first, I want to get to the bottom of something with you. So obviously, everyone listening to this will know that earlier today, South Carolina beat Iowa
In basketball, yeah.
in the basketball game, the women's NCAA tournament final. And, congratulations to South Carolina. What a feat to go undefeated and win the national title. They almost did it last year too. The only loss they had was to Iowa last year. But I don't think it's just I'm a native of Eastern Iowa. You're a native of Eastern Iowa. I know you went to Iowa State, but
Yeah.
but you're a Caitlin Clark fan, I gather.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We have a little background. Clarky played youth soccer at the club that I was, one of the full-time coaches at. So if you're a full-time coach at a club in Central Iowa, you're going to float to essentially know all of the players on every age group team. So especially the ones who are very good. And this will come as no surprise to anyone, but Clarky was like the best player in her age group in Iowa at soccer as well. So of course we, like you're involved in like her games. I was doing like social media stuff for the club, and you lean on the players who are doing amazing things, and she was doing a lot of amazing things. So I was doing a lot of stuff for her team, and it's just like you just love to see a player who's that good and then just suddenly switches to a different sport and is also ridiculous at it, and you're just like, well, there you go.
Well, the thing is, that's what I wanted to get to the bottom of with you. Is like exactly what you remember about her as a soccer player, because she has credited soccer, I think, on the record for why she had for her passing vision, which for me
Yeah.
is the thing that is like, I love a long three as much as the next guy. It's awesome to see that, but the way she passes the ball is just like it's otherworldly.
Yeah,
And
when you're watching it happen, and of her soccer background, you're like, oh yeah, that's just she's just hitting through balls out there. She literally is like dropping a ball behind a defensive line, knowing that this is where the space will open up, and this player should know that and be moving into that space, and that's where it's going to put him into the rim.
Credit to all the future occupational therapists that she plays with for their incredible off-ball movement. I mean, I love the way they move off. So she was a striker, right?
She was a striker, and but again, she's just super savvy. So it's one of those chicken egg things. I don't know that soccer like developed her vision. I mean, it gave her plenty of reps for that kind of vision, but it could also just be that she's just one of those players who has that computational mind, and so of course she excels at both of the sports that put an emphasis on that kind of understanding of four-dimensional pieces.
Right.
And it was a blast. It was a blast to coach her. Like, again, I was never her age group coach, but I would coach in games because, when there's big events, like, okay, we're going to put 2 staff on this game. So I'd coach some of the times with her team. And if there was ever anything that you see that a team's doing, you could just be like, hey, they're doing this. If you can look for this. And she would just like kind of like stare at you, kind of like nod, and then she would just go do it. And there, you coach quite a few players who are like that, but she was definitely one of them, where it's just like you just tell them something
and they can
they just have it, and they're just like, oh, okay, yep, I will do that. That makes sense. And now we will do that.
And she was what, like 12, 13 when you were helping to coach her?
Like 13 through 16, probably. Yeah. And then I think at that point she stopped playing soccer and started playing Olympic youth basketball for the United States of America.
And so she was doing both when she was playing soccer, right? I
mean,
yeah. Okay, well, yeah, it's what a fun player to watch play a sport. Pretty cool. And I knew you had mentioned that, but I just had never really explored it with you. So there it is.
Yeah.
Greg is responsible for all of Caitlin Clark's success.
I mean, just her vision, just her on-court vision, I'd say, is what I'm responsible for.
All right, to the game. Anything else on that? Because I mean, I'd love to hear anything. Any good stories? Any good goals she scored?
Oh, we got, yeah, I mean, nonstop. It was just like Clarkie hat trick, like every time she'd play. There weren't a lot of Iowa teams that were holding up against her.
I see. Yeah.
The other like outstanding player in her age year, hilariously, going back to the best athletes playing soccer, went to Northern Iowa and is their starting point guard playing basketball there. So
Really?
the two of the best players who just dominated the age group in the state, both playing Division I basketball for Iowa universities.
We gotta get a soccer pathway for these ladies. No, there's no sadness about it. All right. So yeah, 2-1 win. I thought this was a good performance from the US. What did you think?
It was a fantastic performance. We kind of came on and absolutely, I especially, no question about it, wet blanketed the bejesus out of the Brazil Gold Cup final. The first half, especially, I believe I called it the worst half of soccer that we had played. But I was never doom and gloom about it. And I think even in in the Discord, I said that any coach who is good at implementing a system, like a structure, will be baffled by this, but they will probably not be worried at all. Like there's so much that you can just do very quickly to improve it. And I think I even said Twyla could probably do that too. She just, for whatever reason, chose not to do it in the time frame of the knockout portion of a tournament. And here we have it. Like there was a clear structure here. We'll get into the lineup, but there was a clear structure. It opened up a lot of different avenues and solutions for our players who seem to have no problem taking advantage of those openings and windows, technically or tactically. So, we are good. We are a good soccer team with an incredible floor. And when you start to add some of these pieces and calibrate them and fine tune them, I think we're in for a very fun decade with this group.
Is it well, the cynic in me is like, well, that's just adding Mallory Swanson to the field. Like that is she was really good in this game in a lot of different ways. And yeah, I don't know. Is that not, it was more structural than that. There's more credit to give Twyla than just that she started Mallory Swanson, which, anybody would have done, I suppose.
I mean, sure. I don't really care who the credit goes to. I just feel like it's obvious that when you have the profiles that we had out on the field and you arrange them in a way that makes sense, they're going to play decent soccer, and they played decent soccer here totally. throughout the game. Like this was very really good soccer. And if everyone again probably who listens knows that I'm in love with watching Japan play soccer. Because of the aesthetic they bring. But if you came in without knowing any of the backgrounds of these teams, you wouldn't know that one of them is historically, or has been for the last cycle, a much, much better possession team. Japan were also fine, and they were still doing some Japan things. But we were able to rattle them at times. And we, again, on the flip side, when we had the ball, we looked totally competent in possession. At no point were we like, this team just doesn't know what they're doing. They can't see one pass ahead. Like there was none of that. Everyone looked totally composed, calm, for the duration of the match.
Yeah. And we created a ton of chances. Japan got that early goal, of course, but after that, I mean, some scraps here and there, but nothing really that dangerous, unless I'm forgetting something.
No, you are not. I mean,
all right,
you're not.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's do the lineups.
Yeah.
So, Nair in goal, Emily Fox, Naomi Gurma, Tierna Davidson, and Jenna Neiswanger across the back line. The midfield was Sam Coffey, Lindsay Horan, and Jaden Shaw, which I was excited to see. And then front line of Trinity Rodman from right to left, Trinity Rodman, Alex Morgan, and Mallory Swanson. Swanson back after that, terrible Achilles injury before the World Cup. This was her first time back with the national team. And boy, did she look just as good as she looked right before she got hurt. Didn't skip a beat. Almost looked better. Yeah.
I mean, part of that was the whole team looking better, but like the story of Swanson's ridiculous run before her injury was like the U.S. not creating very much, and then Swanson scoring a goal out of nowhere on like one opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And this was very much the opposite. This was Swanson everywhere, getting tons of chances and not actually scoring any goals. But again, if you know how I think of the game, like this is better for how we for thinking about how we will look in our next game. You'd much rather have a ton of chances than just hope that you just keep scoring on the one chance you create. So yeah, this was an incredible game, and we put Swanson in a bunch of greats. But Swanson, I shouldn't say we put Swanson and the team combined to create a bunch of really good moments for her.
I don't know if her XG is anywhere, but it had to be bordering on 1 for this game. I know single game XG and all, but she got a lot of chances.
Yeah, you don't need the number. You can literally just eye test when we build the comps out. Talking about our lineup, I do just want to this was another game where trying to lay it out in like a single graphic or single description has become sort of nonsense. Because you could call it a 4-3-3 and say that Shaw was a center mid, but it was just like she played the same role in attack that she usually does, which is an interior like half space player. But in defense, we defended in like a 4-4-2 was kind of our line of confrontation, how we'd set up with Morgan and Shaw up high and then like a band of 4 behind them, where Haran and Coffee had to cover a ton of ground as basically a 2 in the midfield press. So kind of defended in that 4-4-2 in the high block, I guess I'd call it. And then in possession, we were like an asymmetrical 3-2-5 where Niswanger filled. Because when I saw this personnel, I basically, how'd you expect it to look? What did you think we were going to see in our possession shape if we were able to possess it all, which is not a given?
I guess I always assume that the fullbacks are going to get up high and that like the midfielders are going to sort of drop into the space behind them. But I guess you're saying it was Niswanger as sort of like a back 3 in possession.
So Niswanger for me looked like she was getting high. Like that was her instruction. Okay. So she got up high to create like the left-sided 5. That's not what I expected. I thought when I saw this personnel, because we've seen so much of Haran sort of half freestyling, but you can say she's freestyling, but when you put her in the half space, like you're allowed to freestyle, go wherever you want. You're the 10, you know what I mean? Like you don't have a lot of set spots you have to be in. And she's played a ton of that. So I expected it to be Haran and Shaw as like the dual 10s, with Mal and Trinity as the width, and then Morgan as the center piece of that 5. And then some form of Niswanger and Fox jumping into the midfield to create like a pivot with Coffee. Because we've seen that, we saw that in throughout the Gold Cup. We didn't get that at all. Like this was Haran sitting deep, and it was Shaw and Mal Swanson. Swanson was pinching in a lot more to create that 5, with Niswanger getting up on the left and Trinity being the width on the right. So that was a twist. And
where does Fox fit into that? She's one of the 3 in the back on the right.
Her base position would be like in the buildup would be as the back 3. Okay. And then she would drift as the ball progressed forward. She would drift forward and usually to the interior. But there were times where like the play called for it, and she would overlap around the right side. But for the most part, in the early buildup phase, it was a back 3 with Fox staying home. So it was asymmetrical, and we'll get into it. That's kind of the tip was straight away in part of how Japan scored on us. But it's a cool development, because I think a lot of us really have a lot of room for a lot of time for Lindsey Haran being our controlling possession player, but not necessarily for Lindsey Haran being like the upfield player who we're hitting through balls to.
Right, making the run to the end line. Yeah.
Yeah. And this totally eliminates that, right? Like she gets to be the grown up and boss the tempo as part of the pivot with Coffee. But having Swanson and Shaw in those half space spots seems pretty exciting to me.
Yeah.
I'm just one man, but I am very excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I saw Niswanger tucking in a couple of times, but I'm not I'm not disagreeing with you. Just saying. I mean, I guess the game asks for different things at different times. It's not like you don't have to stay in a strict formation. Morgan getting the start over Smith, and I guess Macario's still coming back from injury. You have any beef with that?
I mean, I do, but I also kind of get it in just the sense that there was some inertia from the Gold Cup for Morgan, and I feel like we'll talk about it more, but I feel like that inertia has got to have evaporated by now. I think Morgan really benefited from having a very strong 30 minutes immediately following like a total low point for the program, us losing to Mexico, a low point outcome wise, certainly losing to Mexico in the Gold Cup. So Sophia started that game. And again, remember, they switched them at halftime. So it's not like the whatever performance you didn't like from Sophia losing to Mexico, she was half of it. And then Morgan played the other half of that game too, and didn't exactly like turn the attack around. But then Morgan starts the game against Colombia in the knockouts. And again, has a strong 30, contributes to 2 goals. And that's going to drive a huge swing in the narrative because we were so low. And so to have the bounce back be, in large part because of actions that Morgan had on the field, the goals going in, that's a big deal. She drew the penalty. She had the flick on header that Neiswanger smashed in.
Yeah.
And so it's like Morgan's back. She's it. She hasn't lost it. She was largely ineffective for the remainder of that game, and then through most of the rest of the Gold Cup.
And not very good yesterday either.
Yeah, yesterday it was rough. I think it was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And so I just think I think she's fine to keep bringing into rosters for now. And I'm not saying that she's totally lost any job, but it would not surprise me at all if we switch for the final.
I hope we do. I mean, but I think Vince made the point in the Discord, and he has to wait another week and a half before he can talk about this. So I'm just gonna paraphrase what he said. But essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but she's a legend. She's a U.S. Women's National Team legend. If you're gonna knock her off the perch, you gotta do it. You gotta like seize the chance, make it obvious. And nobody's made it obvious yet. I mean, now some like people haven't gotten that much of a chance, and maybe that'd be the argument in Soph's defense here. But I think Sophia Smith has just not quite done enough, consistently enough, to be like, yeah, she's obviously going to be better than Morgan. So I understand Morgan getting the start, even if I don't completely like it.
I think it's fair. I think that's fair. I think Sophia's had a little bit of bad luck with again, ball going in or not going in, and some of that isn't even her. It'd be like teammates. Like again, Morgan flicks on a header on a set piece, and because Neiswanger smashes it in, it's an assist, and we love assists. In that same game, like 2 minutes after coming on in the 70th minute, Sophia Smith actually has like a nice repeatable cutback to Olivia Moultrie with a wide open net, and Moultrie misses it wide. And so Sophia Smith doesn't get an assist, and you just sort of forget that happened.
Right.
And Soph is still struggling.
For instance, I forgot that happened. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I have concerns about Smith as an actual number 9. But I'd still like to see it. I'd like to see Kat Macario start if she's healthy, and who knows if she is healthy enough for that.
I'm fine with Kat Macario continuing to get 12 minutes at a time.
Okay. Well, it is tantalizing to imagine a Swanson, Macario, Smith front line. At least for me, it is.
No, I'll imagine it. I'll imagine it like crazy. I just want to make sure that in practice we go as slow as we possibly can with Kat Macario.
Fair enough. Okay, Japan, a really good women's national team. I mean, they beat Spain, lest you forget, 4-0 at the World Cup before Spain went on to win the whole thing. They had Ayaka Yamashita in goal, Risa Shimizu, Saki Kumagai, Moeka Minami, and Miyabi Moriya across the back line. Momoko Tanikawa, Fuka Nagano as the sort of the double pivot, and then Kiko Seke, Yui Hasegawa, Aoba Fujino, and Riko Ueki. As the band of three, and then Riko Ueki as the striker. Gonna mark that real quick, just so I'm gonna butcher it, but
you're fine.
Try to keep it.
Even when it's not a Japan, no matter who it is, I basically like never say the opponent's names. I'm always just saying like the Mexican defender. Like I just don't care to specify or even look at who it actually is.
Maybe that should be the house style.
That's when we're doing the breakdowns of the plays, but I feel like naming them ahead of time is important. So I'm glad you do it. Okay. I'm glad you do it.
You were gonna say, yeah.
This is a solid Japan lineup. 8 of these 11 started at least one match in the World Cup, so it's not like they're transitioning out of their team that again had a very good showing. We're definitely World Cup darlings there for a minute.
Definitely your World Cup darling.
Oh yeah, I mean they still are. Again, they were still Japan even in this game. But we were better. Like we were better.
Quite a bit better.
Not just better than, we were better than we have been. So that's the nice thing. It's like, yes, we are hard to play against, Japan. You're very good, but we are hard to do these things against, and we're gonna prove it. The other notable bit for Japan, Jun Endo out with an ACL that she did a couple months ago. So a little bit less. I mean, they lose a little bit of an attacking verve there, but they've got good players still, of course.
Yeah, Sugita came on in the second half, and she was a bit of a handful.
Yeah. The other bit here that was a little different is they were defending in a block with a back four, which is a little different from them. They kind of switched mid-cycle last way to a back three, and that's where they really had a ton of progress made. They were still early. They were still sort of early in that transition when we played them in February 23, and they were already kind of clicking. So this is just kind of a new twist for them too, to see the back four.
They were playing with a back three back then. Is that right?
Yeah, in February of 23. So last year, she believes, before the World Cup, they'd sort of just started their back three implementation, and it was already looking pretty solid. And then the results started to follow. Yeah,
we were in that game. It was pretty rough for us. We did not create much. We just got that one, like you sort of alluded to, that one Mallory Swanson goal on a really nice pass from Alex Morgan, it should be said. But that was our only legit chance in the whole game. And, despite what I would say was our dominance on Saturday, Japan got a really good chance early on. So for the timeline, got a really good chance and scored. It was, they kind of went at that space behind Neiswanger, I would say 3 times that I noticed in the game. And they did it right 25 seconds in. It starts with Swanson getting tackled around the Japan, 30-yard line, if you will. And then it's laid off for Tanikawa, and she just hits a lovely first-time ball, 50 yards downfield into the path of Seke. And Neiswanger sucked too far forward to catch up. Tierna Davidson is hustling back, but doesn't quite get there. I think maybe because she thought the angle was so difficult, she didn't need to, commit to a full sliding challenge. But anyway, she doesn't. And Seke hits it, just gets it past Davidson and skims it across the face of goal, kisses it off the far post, 1-0. And it's a real nice finish. So what do you think, Greg? I mean, before we get to Nair, what do you think of Davidson and Neiswanger?
So this was where knowing what the structure became later in the game, and then watching this, Neiswanger is bitten by her instructions here, because there's a little bit of head tennis after the kickoff, and we get the ball to Swanson, and she has full control of it. But we're still all in our kickoff shape, right? We're still all we're certainly not in a possession shape. And so Neiswanger, it's oh, we have the ball. I need to get up into the front line. I'm now an attacking left side I have the width to get up there. And so she starts to burst forward. But in sort of the confusion of the, just seconds after kickoff, Swanson just sort of drives the ball forward, like doesn't wait for anybody, doesn't wait for us to get our shape. So she just drives the ball forward, and Niswanger doesn't catch up to anything, like certainly can't catch up to the play. And so they turn us over, and before Niswanger can drop back the 30 yards she needs to get our shape set, Japan hits it over her head. So it's not like, it wasn't like they, she got caught up on some pistoning action from Japan or anything, some nice patterns. She was literally running up to try to catch up with Swanson to create like our possession shape. And we just lost it very quickly.
So how do we prevent that sort of thing happening in the future?
I mean, I feel like that's literally just like kickoff chaos. Like I don't think that that's a real thing that I'm worried about, to be honest.
Okay. You're not worried about Davidson at all? Like her catch up speed, or I mean, it was such a tight angle. It's like
exactly. She's there, she's caught up. Like at this point, center backs aren't even when you're chasing that player down at that angle, you're usually not even like taught to block the shot anymore. I don't think. Like it's very much like don't let them square it for a tap in. Not that Japan had any players to even square it to at that point, but like you're very much like from this angle, it's the goalie's job to stop the shot. It wasn't that hard of a like she didn't rifle it. It was not like it was not smashed. This wasn't a walloped shot. So you can kind of see where I'm going here.
It's on Alyssa.
Yeah, some of the actual shot going in, a bit of this is on Alyssa. And we did the Zapruder, and like we got the frame by frame, and it's just like we talk so much about her near post security blanket, and she is like her left foot is dangerously close to being outside the near post frame and like being out of bounds, like taking away the out of bounds shot. I mean, she is got that near post covered. And yeah, it's just
a little bit of the outside of the side netting as well.
Yeah. So it's well placed. Again, it's in off of the post, but it's not super hit hard, and the angle's tight, and it's just like you wonder if that cheating cost her here.
Okay.
The cheating saved her in making a save against Colombia. So, generally just
you win some, you lose some with cheating. Well, 1-0. But a lot of game to go. 89 minutes and 30 seconds to be precise. So to the rest of the timeline. So minute 35 in, nice little shimmy from Trinity, and she plays a good ball into the Man City zone for Morgan, who does get to it and then tries to beat a defender and gives it away on the end line. And that was kind of her night in a nutshell. She'd get on the ball, she'd lose it. Not every single time. She didn't do nothing well, but a lot of the time she was dispossessed.
Yes. I think ineffective would definitely be the watchword.
We'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk more about that. 4th minute, good corner kick from Swanson. Love Swanson's set pieces. I'm on here yammering about bad set pieces on the men's side, pissing people off with all that. Great set pieces from Swanson. And Shaw, it actually hits Shaw's head. She's leaning back a little bit. It's a really difficult header. And she can't steer it on frame. But, we got a curling ball with pace that hits a teammate's head between the penalty marker and the 6-yard box.
Dead center of the field. Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, that's one where you don't even have to know that much about it and you can score a goal.
Right. Just like kind of jump up without even looking at the ball. It could hit your head and bounce in. 5-minute mark. Good stuff from Coffey and Shaw through the middle, I think. I mean, mostly from Shaw here. She plays on the half turn and then kind of hits a ball at Morgan's chest at the edge of the box. Morgan does well to bring it down, but then can't quite connect with Mal Swanson, who's like darting through a little crease right next to her. But I thought Coffey was really good in this game, and I loved to see it.
Yeah, and this one, even this sequence, like that was only the second half of the sequence. We had the buildup was great. Like this was building up from all the way from the back, and even before it gets over to Coffey and Shaw, like it was Haran hitting one of her little disguised vertical passes up to Mal, who got into that half space. So it was like we hit the left side vertical pivot to half space pocket, and then a quick switch. Mal like got it and immediately switched it over to Trinity. Like it looked choreographed. You're watching, you're like, oh, that is a nice pattern that we just played just to get it over to Trinity. And maybe if that happens a little later in the game, Trinity's, going to be more aggressive because she's got like some room to go 1v1 here. And instead she just, hits it back to Coffee nice and simple. And then we get another little vertical from that pivot to our half space pocket to Shaw. So it's just like, yes, this is for me, that is that's music. That's
what we've been asking for. Yeah.
So really solid, promising moments here straight away.
More of that in the 7th minute, some patient buildup with a little bit of a press from Japan. And we play it to Coffee, who receives it nicely on the half turn and then just switches it all the way over to Neiswanger. So, I mean, it's passed back and forth on the back line. We're just looking for a little moment. And Coffee finds the moment, switches it to Neiswanger, plays it to Mel, who looks dynamic on that left side. Nothing comes off, but she's just looking, she's looking real good. Lovely move from us up the left in the 10th minute. It's Tierna Davidson to Neiswanger, and then Neiswanger plays it to Swanson coming back to the ball at about the half line. She kind of skips past a defender and then plays a nice pass to Neiswanger down the line. Neiswanger making a determined run, and she hits I think, very good first-time ball with that left foot of hers, curling into the box all the way to the back post where Trinity is arriving. And Trinity has a shot. It's put off by the sliding challenge from the defender, but and goes over. But that's some real nice soccer from us right there.
Yeah, really clean. Again, really perfectly weighted ball from Swanson to hit it through a narrow window for Neiswanger. And then I love the early ball here from Neiswanger. I'm not cross FC whatsoever. But when you can put it behind the back line to curl it around them, where if they are going to make a play, they're facing their own goal. I think from the replay, it looked like their defender is the one who slid into that ball and put it over her own goal. Okay. And that's certainly what Trinity definitely thought so. So super dangerous ball. And it's like they either make a great clearance and maybe put it in their own goal, or it's Trinity sliding it home. So again, perfectly executed on all parts, and just really more promising type of soccer that we're excited to see.
Yeah, I guess it would get tedious if we just kept talking about these, but there was more of this.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That like there are so many of these that any one of these that we've already talked about would have been by far the best sequence in the Brazil game. Like it was to the point where we made 4 neutral passes in a Brazil game, and it was like, that's it. We put 4 passes together. This was the moment of but the thing we have to talk about though is Japan were not pressing us the way Brazil were. Japan were not getting up in our faces. They had a little bit lower line of confrontation. So the question does remain, is this going to be something where teams will, as we add this structure, I think it's going to be very fascinating to see us improve, and then to see the response from opponents to say, all right, well, we can't let them play like this. If they get a little bit of sophistication here, we're cooked. We have to do something different. Or if they say, no, they're not that good at it, we can sit back and let Lindsey Horan pick out passes. I'm very curious to see how teams will react to a coherent U.S. women's national team.
Yeah. I feel like, we, with Coffee sort of, it seems to me, settling into the role, and Horan playing a little deeper, it does give us some elegance in the buildup from deep, and so I'm bullish, not bearish, bullish on our prospects. If we play like this, we were to face a Brazil team that presses us like this, we could really make them pay. I feel like we could.
I'm hopeful we could. Yeah, I definitely think we could.
Okay, 15th minute, the press wins it for us. Morgan collects it, and this is one of her nice moments of the game. Plays just a soft ball across zone 14, so the area on top of the Japan box for Lindsey Horan, who's arriving there, and she plays a nice first-time left-footed pass right to Mal's feet, near the penalty marker, and Swanson just dances past two defenders and has a shot from the left side that I think goes through the closest defender's legs and totally beats the keeper. I mean, it's going in, but for a goal line clearance by Miyabi Moria, the left back, who was, I gotta tip my cap to her, just extremely responsible in getting back to cover that back post. Like, she's a well-coached soccer player and intelligent. And if she doesn't make a determined effort to get back there, it's 1-1 at this point.
So many things to love about this play. One, I'll continue the praise for the defender, because we talked about in the men's recap against Mexico, as a keeper, it's all about like you deny every possible inch just in case the ball goes into that inch of the goal. So for the defender to come back and be like, I can cover a 2-foot square of the goal just in case the ball goes to that spot. Like, everyone has to have that mindset in those moments. So credit to her. Now on the U.S. side, the press. Like, this is, by my count, the 4th short goal kick Japan had taken in this game where we made their lives hell. And this was where we got the best look after it. But this certainly wasn't even the first time that we took Japan, like possession, international side FC, other than Spain, and like made them look like a mess, just an absolute like disaster. And so if you can do that against Japan, you're going to do that against anybody. So again, tons of revenue coming from this aggressive posture. We were clever about how we set up our press on our goal kicks, because it would be like Morgan wouldn't be the one chasing right away. Not that maybe she couldn't, but I'm just going to say it was better to have Trinity and Mao chasing the initial short pass and Morgan sitting deep to deny like a vertical ball at the middle, and then sort of trying to chase down the ensuing dominoes. And it was everybody. It was the center mids. It was the fullbacks. Like Germa got called up into press like 3/4 of the way up the field after Japan kind of almost got through that initial line of pressure. But we are dogged in our defense against short goal kicks. And that might seem silly, but like we saw it in the Gold Cup, other teams taking short goal kicks against us is really risky at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't remember if it was a short goal kick that Shaw scored on. Was it? Or
in fact, it was.
Okay. So when we do that, everybody's pressing, does the 4-4-2 defensive shape kind of become like a 2-4-4? Or
I think you could call it that. Yeah. So Shaw was doing more of the chasing as like in that Morgan line, like it was Shaw and Morgan kind of paired up centrally, and Shaw would do more of the chasing. I mean, and she can cover ground so fast. I mean, she, again, from the Gold Cup, she was taking the ball off of the goalkeeper's feet at times when she was the wide player as one of those chasers. So we've got good chasers. And again, we're doing this with Morgan and with Haran, two players who you wouldn't necessarily think of as full chasers. So this is the other area I do want to make sure I give Morgan credit, because you can't do what we're doing if Morgan's a passenger. So she wasn't a total passenger. I think we were clever with how we set it up, but she's contributing here with her pursuits and her angles and all that. Everyone has to be, because you wouldn't be able to do this against Japan with one person just like spectating.
Yeah, good point. And everybody talks about how Trinity Rodman is one of the best defensive forwards in the world. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, yeah, great. Well, can she be a good offensive forward? And but I recognize it. And then, man, Swanson, when she chases, the space between her and the person she's pursuing just evaporates. It's just gone.
Yeah, and so we were way more aggressive in this matchup against Japan than we were against Japan a year ago, February. Yeah, about a year ago. At that point, we essentially gave up. We said, no, Japan is passing through us. Like we dropped off, almost to midfield and just sort of let them have their tidy passes. And it was not the case in this game. And I believe Vince noted it, that their manager said something about we just had the worst time getting through their high pressure.
Yeah. Okay. Boy, a lot to be happy about. 16th minute. Okay. As soon as I say that, 16th minute, Germa pulls up, running back toward our goal. Looks like she strained a muscle. They said after the game it was her thigh. Kind of looked like the way somebody pulls up when their hamstring is strained a little bit, but I guess that's part of the thigh, but probably not what they mean when they say thigh. Hopefully, she's okay because she's a really good player.
She is. If you want to try to look for any kind of a silver lining here, we talk about so much about how our defense has been outstanding for the last 3 years, and we've given Germa a lot of credit for that. Germa has not played like every minute of those games. We had last cycle, we had a rotation of her, Cook, and Dahlkemper. Ertz played the World Cup. We just lost Germa against Japan 15 minutes in. Japan are very good. We gave Japan nothing with Dahlkemper and Tierna playing center back.
That's true. Yeah, Dahlkemper was kept a quiet shop back there, which is kind of what you want. I thought Tierna was a little iffy on the ball sometimes, but yeah, I agree. Nothing in. Shut up, Bells.
You're fine.
Whenever I find myself just like repeating what you said, I'm like, gosh, gotta not do that. Okay, 20th minute. We get a chance. Neiswanger draws in the right back, sort of striding forward with the ball. Very patient, waits for that right back to step to her and then slips Swanson in behind. Swanson plays a beautiful left-footed cross on a platter for Rodman. And she heads it, basically, and this happens, but basically the only spot where Yamashita can get to it. She's got a lot of the goal to head it into, and it happens. So
yeah, it's still a good save from Yamashita. She's working her way across. Again, I'm gonna give my goalkeepers the credit. Like, she's over on the near post when Swanson hits the cross, has to get across quickly to get to Trinity's header, but then also isn't up off the ground for the rebound of her shot that Morgan puts well wide of the frame.
Right.
I'm actually, me, I'm not actually like even criticizing Morgan for missing there. I'm saying we had a double chance, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, we were racking up XG in this moment. 20th minute, Coffee. Well, 20th minute is when we score our goal. Coffee wins in the press. This was on a goal kick.
It's the ensuing
right,
goal.
Greg?
Yeah, it's the goal kick directly after Morgan's miss.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Coffee wins it. Haran's kind of in the area. She's kind of part of it too, but Coffee's the one who takes it off of somebody's foot with their back to goal, and then strides past that player, dribbles forward, draws the attention of 3 defenders, and then releases it to Shaw in zone 14. Shaw opens up with her right foot, hits it across her body. Just a clean, beautiful, professional strike on goal in at the far post. 0 chance for Yamashita. A thing of beauty. Check out the aerial view on Instagram if you have that app on your phone. And I guess the at Mercedes-Benz Stadium they have a ball tracker camera, and you can see like the whole how it all develops, and it's really cool to watch. Kind of looks like a video game. Anyway, she makes it look easy, a strike like that, which is not true. It's not easy, and it's 1-1.
So this is one where, again, this is the press, and this is Coffee's the one who gets the ball, and I'm not trying to take anything away from her, but again, when you're watching in your mind, you're just like, oh, Coffee, and it seems like Coffee's the hero of the moment. But this is, in my mind, this is like a team turnover. This is turnovers created by the team, just like the other 4 goal kicks that we had Japan scrambling on. And because of the way the team is functioning, somebody's going to pick up Japan's scramble ball. And in this case, it's Coffee who picks it up. Great presence of mind to do what she did with it. She attacked full speed straight away and hits that nice ball over to Shaw. And then again, just like we talked about in the Mexico game about the blocking defender, Shaw's getting closed down by a defender who's closing down from the goalkeeper's right side, Shaw's left side. And the blocking defender just over pursues. Shaw's going to get her shot off. You're not going to stop that. So your job is to make sure that you are taking away a portion of the goal that doesn't overlap with what the goalkeeper can take away. And at the last second, that blocking defender takes like a hard horizontal step towards the center of the goal and leaves that far post wide open. And the keeper's probably already accounted for the defender taking away. Is probably cheating to the other side slightly, and so that's why you see her not move at all. Like she's just like, oh, that's not the part of the goal I was going to defend. Yeah, that was my defender's job, and she hung me out to dry there.
Was she a little unsighted by the defender as well?
Yeah. I mean, it was close to the cardinal sin of a blocking defender, which is to literally go from covering the far post to at the last second. You know, that 2 steps can make a huge difference in the angle you're blocking to taking away the near post. So it was bad blocking play. She didn't have the same responsibility as some of the other defenders who made better plays earlier.
Well, it's so hard to keep in mind where you are in relation to the far post of the goal you're defending in a moment like that. I mean,
if you coach the players and you're coaching, and I feel like this is a technique that should be coached. Teach your defenders to actually say out loud, like while they're playing, like communicate to your goalkeeper and just say, "I'm your far post," because that'll put it in their head to be like, I am telling them that I am blocking the far post, and that will force them to, again, take that responsibility on and block the far post or near post if they're the near post. Like I'm the near post as you're closing the shot down. I don't know if they can even hear that kind of thing from that distance, but it helps keep it in your head that that's your job. Like that's the job you have to do. It's not your job to block every single shot they take. You block a certain portion of the goal. And any shot that goes to that portion is yours. And if it's not, it's somebody else. You can't do it all.
I have played a little soccer with you and some other sports that involve goalkeeping and balls. And you are a vigorous communicator out there. I will say that.
Every single inch of the goal that can be covered by the amount of players you have available is you have to do it. You have to do the optimum as often as you can.
Okay. What did you think of? I mean, let's take this moment. We're about halfway through the first half, and we've already gone over 45 minutes. But
I've covered most of the points that I wanted to get across about.
Good.
I thought about this game.
Good. What did you think of Niswanger on the night? I'm kind of 2 minds about her, but what did you think?
I thought she was pretty solid, to be honest. And I didn't see. I mean, again, you might focus on her for the goal, but she held up the rest of the way. It's not like Japan were just exploiting her over and over and like getting her confused with her positioning, which is sort of what Japan are trying to do, right? They're trying to just move enough around that you get caught focusing on one player. Well, it's like basically like sleight of hand stuff. Like that's the whole idea of the passing triangles is you accidentally stay with this runner for too long, and that's left the other space open. And they didn't have any of us really getting fooled that badly. No one was like chasing shadows out there. We were holding our block, and Niswanger, I guess I'm just saying that to say Niswanger was just fine.
Yeah, I was dinging her a little bit for the goal, but I guess I've been disabused of that. Yeah, she's really good in possession and in the attack. Makes nice decisions. Shapes a lovely ball into the box. I guess I'm a little worried about her speed. And that's not from this game so much as like the Gold Cup,
Yep. It could be an issue, but in this game, at least, like she held up really well. She was involved in a lot of good possessions. I still also think that she has a couple of surrender crosses in her from her side, where it's just like, well, the ball is set up nicely for me to drive it into the box, so that's what I'll do, whether the numbers call for it or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 29th minute, Morgan shrugs off Kumagai and touches it past Moeka Minami after a big Haran header at midfield. She gets fouled by Minami. Was it a dog so? No, the ref says it was a yellow. And that's fine with me.
Notable.
I don't want anybody getting a red card in this game.
No, this one was notable because Japan had abandoned the short goal kicks, and so actually this was a long goal kick, and it's like, no, even on the long goal kicks, like you're not out of the fire yet here. Like,
yeah, we're coming.
Haran just wins it back, and we are coming at you again. If you can't hit your long kick, and Colombia ran into this too. If you can't hit your goal kicks 65 yards, we're going to dominate you in the air. So you got to pick your poison, whether it's the short and playing through the pressure or trying to beat our like height in midfield. And some teams will have no problem doing that, but Japan had some trouble with that.
Right. 36-minute, nice moment from Lindsay Horan. Does a neat little Cruyff away from pressure and then scythes through Japan's right side on the dribble. I think she beats 2 people and then slips Mal in for a shot from a tight angle, which Mal nearly gets it through. I mean, she like kind of pokes it with her right toe or the outside of her right boot, gets to it, and boy, am I loving life at this point in the game, even though it's only 1-1, you know.
That's just ball go in though. This was an outstanding half. Again, coming on the heels of what was a super sloppy game in the Gold Cup final. This is great. I got no complaints watching this team play like this. I'll even say that. So this is what I would say. Literally, if this is like the peak that we had reached by the time we like got to the Olympics and we're playing in the group stages, if we were playing like this, I would have taken it. If you said, "Hey, this is how we're going to play by the medal round of the Olympics," I'd be like, "Okay, yes, I'll take this."
Yeah, I mean, there's been some dreary evenings at the ballpark over the last couple months.
If we can take this and improve over the next, Emma's coming. Like we got Canada coming up. Like if we can improve here from this, and I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I have a little ding on Emily Fox. She got it right in the top of the box after like a bit of a mess in the buildup. It gets played to Shaw's feet. She does just manage to hold off the defender and slide and knock it over to Fox. But Shaw springs right to her feet and is rushing into a bit of open space in the box. Fox receives that pass from Shaw. Looks at Shaw, or it seems like she looks at Shaw. She's facing in her direction. Does not play her the ball, which I think she's got to do in that situation. And then turns and tries to play Rodman out wide, and the pass is blocked, and Japan's coming the other way. I didn't think Emily Fox had a great game, but mostly just didn't like this one moment.
I agree with you that she didn't have a great game. In the first half, I had already made a note, and I was like, comp Morgan, comp Fox, because they both just seemed like off, really off. I'll defend her a little bit here, because when she takes that peek up after Shaw like wins the ball, Shaw won the ball going to ground, so Shaw is actually still on the ground for at least part of the time. Fox scans it, and she just didn't account for how quickly and ridiculously Shaw like did like a slide one way and then just pushed off from the ground and then beat the Japan player back going the other way. So it's tough. It would have been tough to anticipate that.
I feel like Shaw's instincts for that kind of thing are really, really sharp. And
it was great movement from her.
Yeah. She also was not, she scored the lovely goal. She did not have a flawless performance. She did not have a flawless performance. She was a little untidy too.
Yeah, I know. I'm also just kind of like thinking maybe optimistically she'll clean that up, and I just can't stop imagining Horan in the pivot doing her ridiculous superpower of holding onto the ball for as long as she wants, and then until she can just slip that vertical pass 4.5 inches away from that pressuring defender's foot who's draped all over her, up to Jaden Shaw. I just feel like we can just have that anytime we want, unless teams say, no, we can't do this. We have to hit Horan with more. We got to double her. Like we gotta flash a second defender to Horan anytime the ball gets to her in the double pivot. Which I don't know. I don't know if your teams are going to be able to use those numbers that far away from their own goal.
Then Coffee hits Mel Swanson out wide or in the left half space, and another pick your poison situation. All right, the half comes and goes. What did you see early in the second half, Greg?
We're already running long, but I got a 4-minute bit on the kickoff.
Let's go.
We do the same thing on every kickoff, right? We drop it deep, we launch it long up to Lindsay Horan at the top of the box is what we're going for her to like flick on to any of the attackers to run onto, and it's pretty effective. We create real like danger moments, and I just noticed a fun twist because when we were about to take this kickoff, Niswanger standing at the half line at the edge of the circle, and it's just like, what is happening here? Is Niswanger, did they flip roles? Is Niswanger playing like attacking mid? But no, her only job is to try, like, when we hit this ball back to a center back, Niswanger's just supposed to like screen the Japanese forward so they can't get a running start to like pressure our launch. That was the whole thing. And I just noticed it. I think it's a genius little move. Again, there's no reason not to do those little things. So you can set a little pick and give your launcher an extra second and a half. Like any punting coach would know, like that gets your coverage further downfield. Like that's what you want. So Niswanger missed. She missed on the screen. She doesn't. I don't know if she knows this. She can actually set up inside the circle. She doesn't have to be outside the circle, but she actually gave the Japanese runner like a little bit of an angle because she set up too far wide. But we can fix that. I hope to see it again because I think that's little clever stuff.
Butterfly those elbows out a little bit too.
But you can't step into it as anyone from Connecticut would know because you're going to get called for that.
Oh, poor Connecticut. You got a few timeline items here. Let's do them. I don't have that many from the second half, but
yeah, we'll blitz through this. We just had another nice moment from Haran. I thought Haran was excellent, but it's just like again the way she can ping that ball around, and she gets a nice switch out to Niswanger, who has a good cross, and I just noted it because the cross is kind of weakly cleared, but it falls to Mal, and Mal still has like enough burst to create a shooting opportunity. She creates room to get a shot off. Just from a standstill, it gets blocked by a second defender sliding in late. But she's got that like quickness, and you wonder after the long layoff if that's going to come back. And I think it's back.
Yeah.
And then a couple of minutes later, we get like a genuine Rondo looking moment that catches my eye because I love a Rondo. But it stood out because it was like three players. It was Niswanger, Mal, and Haran, like all facing each other in a tight triangle and just like little pings around the triangle, and it was effective. Like we got the little pings, and then Haran has it with enough room that she can hit another like sweeping switch out to Trinity by herself, and Trinity gets Fox overlapping her and feeds that. We get a decent cross and a little chaos ball moment, and I don't know. It's just there was a lot of positive stuff that for the way I watch like jumped off the screen.
Well, it felt like we were gonna score. It felt like we were gonna score a lot of times too. I mean, we didn't, but we didn't score a lot of times. But it felt like we were gonna. Clocked a untidiness from Shaw in the 51st minute, trying to play Rodman on the half turn. It's just the pass is the pass wasn't really there. Basically, is the truth of it, and she just tries to force it in. It's not even close. Then a couple minutes later, she takes a missed touch. Trying to receive the ball in the half turn and gives it away. Then she wins it and has like you were talking about Swanson having a very quick shot after winning it that looked like the trajectory was low. It looked like it wasn't and it wasn't going over the goal.
She smacked it.
And it was blocked about 5 yards from her. And 57th minute, real nice attempted combo up the middle from Coffey and Haran. The last touch from Coffey to, I think she was trying to hit Morgan, doesn't quite come off, but it's a really nice combination right up the middle of the field.
It's recognizable soccer, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Great chance for Rodman on a lovely ball from Haran in the 58th minute, kind of between the left back and the center back. Rodman runs onto it, settles it, and hits it well, just saved, as sometimes shots are. Nice combo from Haran and Shaw in the 60th minute, just a little 1-2. Haran has a shot from 20 and it's saved comfortably, but you give Haran that shot 10 times. How many times is it going to go in? 4?
Probably like 1.5.
Okay.
I mean, she gets a better version of that shot later. And I believe I heard Foudy say that has to go in the back of the net.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing that I was clocking was, again, like we aren't just hitting home run balls. Like Haran gets that shot because of like she and Shaw combined twice. It wasn't even just a standard 1-2. If it was on this one, it was another one where they did like a double 1-2 where Shaw's backboarding, and you're just like, oh man, this is just so nice to see real ideas and real choices being made in attack rather than just being like, it's possible to get the ball in the box, I'm going to launch it into the box.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like Shaw and Haran really click together.
It's contagious. It's contagious for sure. Everyone's going to be doing it. This is a new thing.
This is the mid. Doesn't it feel like this is the right midfield? Too, like forever.
I would take this as a forever midfield. Again, just literally on the strength of this game. I'd be like, yes, I'm fine starting this as the midfield for the entirety of the Olympics, through thick or thin.
Somebody on the Discord was and I quote, humbly requesting that we be as hard on the men as we have been on the women after that Gold Cup. And I hope you're happy now, because we loved this performance. Our press is a real problem for Japan, even this late in the game. Fox has a giveaway in the 62nd minute in our defensive third. Again, thought she was kind of messy. Morgan, totally messy. Smith comes on for Rodman in the 63rd minute. Sonnet on for Shaw. And Casey Kruger comes on for Fox. Smith immediately gets a chance from a not wonderful angle to the right of goal on a Morgan pass. And I think it was off a throw-in maybe. And it kind of skips up on her and she sends it to Buckhead. And then...
So this one, real quick though, this is a better chance, I think, than it kind of comes off because of how badly it's botched on the actual shot. But this is a really nice pass from Morgan. Probably your second or maybe your best moment of the game. And the reason the angle gets the angle gets cut off so much because that first touch bobbles across Smith's body. Like if she takes a normal first touch, Morgan's pass lets her go to goal. So a first touch towards goal even a little bit, and she's just looking at the keeper from probably just about inside the post. So within the frame. So it was just a miss. It happens, but it was a nice moment. It was a dangerous moment.
How did Smith get so open over there? Was it a throw-in?
It was a transition. Yeah, it was like some kind of you didn't even get the initial part of the play on camera because they were not focused on it. And they cut to it. We just won the ball. And you hear the crowd roaring as they're showing something else. And then you're like, oh, we have the ball and Morgan has it running it to goal.
Okay. All right. Well, so you got something here.
So right after that, and these were some of Smith's first actions. Right after that, after Morgan set her up, I noticed Japan kind of delivers the ball into our box. We clear it, and Soph picks it up with room to transition, and she just is running, full speed downfield, and she keeps running full speed directly into Japan's 3 retreating players and loses the ball, and got a little bit of real visible frustration from Morgan, who had been trying to race behind the line looking, and Smith had all the time in the world to identify it and try to pick it out as she thought she could. Instead, just turned it over. And this was right after Morgan had set Smith up. And I didn't know if there was maybe a little bit of tension there on the field.
A little playing time rivalry going on. I mean, Morgan hardly in a position to throw stones. With her glass house and all, but she's not wrong. I mean, I'd like Smith to be a little more sort of dynamic in that moment. Not dynamic in the sense of moving fast forward, but sort of having a lot of options in front of her and choosing one in a decisive way.
She tries later and it wouldn't even make the timeline because it just turns into a giveaway. But I felt like it was weighing on her that she didn't hit that one to Morgan because she tried to just force something through to Morgan. Morgan made the run and it was absolutely not on. And Smith tried to hit it anyway.
Yeah, she also played. It didn't make the timeline, but she also played Haran deep into the corner, and Haran was just like, "Nope, I'm not getting to that." Let's see. Good cross in the 69th minute from Neiswanger. Skips through to Haran. I didn't describe the buildup, but I think the buildup was really nice here. And Haran takes a touch and rips it just wide of the post. Really good chance. Really good hit, too.
Yeah, Morgan had a dummy on this, and then no one was behind her. So it went to a Japan player who just had it comfortably, but then just forgot the ball. Took one touch and then just kind of kept moving, but the ball didn't travel with her. And so Haran just walked onto it by herself and just missed it by a couple of feet.
Yeah.
It happens, and Rowdy, it happens.
She's got to put that in the back of the net. I'm kidding. 72nd minute, really nice build-up from Coffee, Haran, Swanson. Swanson's pass to Smith, who's streaking down the right channel, is a little errant, but Smith ends up corralling it and slips it wide to Swanson, and she skies her shot. But again, very much enjoying the soccer here. 76 minutes, Smith goes at two defenders on the right side, cuts in deftly and gets chopped down. This is Smith's best moment of the game, I think, pretty clearly, and it's a clear penalty. She does this defender it's real nice. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, it was totally unnecessary on the foul because it's three defenders. She like splits the double team because she's Sophia Smith and she can do that kind of thing. But there's a third defender there to absorb her. And we didn't have any help for Sophia Smith. And the reason we didn't is because we've been playing for like 2 minutes down a player. Coffee had the head injury on that last buildup that resulted in the Swanson miss. And so we're playing without another center mid. Also, just kind of, we didn't note it before, but when Sonic came on and Shaw came off, Haran did move up a line. And so then now the double pivot was Coffee and Sonic. So Coffee's out with an injury. We haven't subbed on yet for her. And so we're just playing with 10 players. And Sophia Smith can still do this. And this is, again, for me, this is the value of Sophia Smith is run at 3 players. You made 2 of them miss, and one of those 2 fouled you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sometimes you win a penalty and it's just to me, it looks like, well, that was just really stupid from the defender, but it looked like she, this was like a juke. There was some elegance to it from Smith. And then Haran steps up, puts the penalty away, down to the keeper's right. Very nicely taken penalty. 2-1. And like we said, Japan really, since that opening goal, has not created much, as you know from this timeline. If you're still listening now, we created a lot. Kat Macario comes on for Morgan right after the goal. Dunn comes on for Swanson, and Corbin Albert comes on for Coffee. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then Niswanger actually moves up a line. So Dunn plays left back, and Niswanger is playing like left mid, and Kat plays straight up like the striker. So I think that's notable. We didn't move Sophia up and put Kat on like the wing to play the Jaden Shaw inverted role. Like Kat played up at the 9. Again, we're working her back. I'm really curious about this too. If this sub for Kat was going to happen no matter what. Like if this was game state independent, even though it's technically like a tournament that the winner advances to play the other winner. I'm curious if we would have done this no matter what, just because getting Kat minutes is a priority.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but it is notable that she plays the 9 and Smith stayed out wide as a winger. 81st minute, Hina Sugita puts Casey Kruger in hell for a minute and draws a foul deep in the corner. Just got to note it, got to clock it. And I mean, she beats her twice and then gets fouled. And then on the ensuing Japanese set piece, we do not defend particularly well. Mina Tanaka gets a free header from 8 yards out, puts it, just very comfortably to Naher's left, thankfully. And then I guess my only other things are Macario didn't get too much chance to make an impact, but when she did get on the ball, there was not a lot to get excited about. It wasn't like, whoa, it wasn't, Swanson's back from a long injury layoff. She was electrifying in this game. I would not say Macario was not like that when she came.
No, part of it was just what you're being asked to do. Like, if we make the comp of Macario, it's going to be like her getting the ball on the sideline and just like holding it there because we're just kind of running the clock out. Yeah. So it's like, what is she trying to do? Is she doing it? Do we even care about what she's trying to do in those moments, or is it just like we're glad to have her on the field?
Totally.
But no, it wasn't like she didn't come in and there weren't fireworks. That's for sure.
I mean, that's the main thing is that, like you said, she's back on the field. That's wonderful news and great to see her back. And I mean, she did try that clipped ball in the 88th for Sophia, which I liked the idea. It just was a little heavy. And then the only other thing is 92nd minute, some outstanding last ditch defending from Crystal Dunn on Japan's second moment of true danger in the game. A really nice through ball, and Dunn is alert to it, slides and gets to it before the attacker, who is just to her right. And that's it from Atlanta. Columbus on Tuesday, right, against Canada. Vince is going to be there. Tara's going to be there.
Nice.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Vince is going to be at Brothers, which is some kind of college bar in Columbus, and you should look him up. He might buy you a drink.
Sophia for Morgan. Let's swap the goalie out and run it back.
Okay.
It's tough. I know it's harsh on Nair. I just feel like, I mean, she's served us well. She keeps serving us well, to be honest. But
audition somebody else.
Yeah, I think we auditioned someone else. I feel like we actually have better shot stoppers.
Yeah. So maybe Casey Murphy.
That's who I think it would be.
And then Smith at striker. Otherwise, the exact same lineup.
Keep it the same. Yep. Give Fox another chance to clean things up. Give Niswanger a chance to prove that she's there. She's got the possession side. Prove that she can hold up on the defensive side. Let's lift another trophy.
Okay. If you are a patron of the Scuffed Podcast, you will hear the Monday review tomorrow. So, check that out. Check out the Patreon. Links in the show notes. And thank you, Greg. And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you.